I want to welcome everyone to our grand jury on this day, October 2nd, 2022. While this opening statement is being given, Tanya, our secretary, will be quietly taking roll and checking those present to see if your bona fides are in order. That is your living testimony. And so let us begin with a prayer. And if everyone can mute your mics, please. Beloved Creator, we are in great gratitude for the people and the blessings you have brought to our assembly. Along with many others here and abroad, we are walking one step at a time for a reckoning to the dark energies, the malicious forces and entities that wish us ill intent and suffering. We rise up to say no more malevolence, no more malfeasance, no more compliance to a godless system. We are writing our future into existence just as did our founding fathers. It is written proof in our documents. We're calling in the Creator within each of us, and we are taking back our government on Oregon. We've gathered, have formed a social compact, and declare, as written in our Oregon Constitution, that all power is inherent in the people. It is the governments who were founded on our authority, not the other way around. For we are the authority, they are the subservient. We have been called and we are taking charge, and we are ever grateful that with every fiber of our being, we are walking with the divine counsel of our beloved Creator, and so it is.
Amen. Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure. Thank you. So we are the Oregon Statewide General Assembly. We are not an INO, an assembly in name only. We are here and working to tackle the big issues. Two of them here now are ones that get right to the heart of the difficulty we've been in and are having in nearly every aspect of our lives. The first is the spoiled judiciary system, which encompasses the judges, the lawyers and attorneys, AKA the bar, and the courts altogether. The second is enforcement of our court's convictions to the de facto entities. When the grand jury votes, their decisions and the subsequent true bills go to our petite jury. Then the petite jury's convictions go to the district attorneys, the attorney general, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the USMS et al. Every time. We notify, yet they do nothing but acquiesce. In June of 2019, our declaration from the Oregon Statewide General Assembly filed a document revealing all the major aspects of deception into the city of Beaverton. This was before we established docket numbers and before the assembly was what it is today. Thank you, Ron. They acquiesced. In January of 2020, I just got a note that my volume isn't high. Can you all hear me? Yeah, okay. In June of 2019, our declaration of Oregon State, oh, I read that, I'm sorry. In January of 2020, Ron Broman noticed the VA, the DON, the DOJ et al. That since Lincoln's time, a group forming an ad hoc union of federal states and Congress adjourned sine die, with the several states never forming a proper Congress since 1861, and have been operating on color of law ever since. That document and multiple ones from the assembly to follow inform them of misprision of felony. That is now, you know, we know, that, and we are no longer deceived. In July of 2021, docket number 070-22021A, 1921, we sent a notice to the Supreme Court of the state of Oregon demanding they provide their jurisdiction in writing, that they are a constitutionally formed court with the proper oaths to the original Article 7, not the amended as of 1910. History matters. They acquiesced. September 7th and again on the 20th of 2021, we contacted Shemaiah Fagan's office of the Secretary of State with a request for an apostille, mailed it, and her corporation division returned it denied twice. There was a letter in between that we had crafted telling them that they are the foreign entity and that our court is foreign to their court and vice versa. Still denied. That was a letter of interjurisdiction communique to Martha Walters, to her court to defend the people in need. To the Supreme Court of Oregon, notifying them that they have taken the incorrect oaths and that we are the only lawful court on Oregon. In that, we challenged their authenticity and told them they could self-correct, and there was never a response. Crickets. Our court in our de jure civilian jurisdiction continually notifies and appeals to their court to defend the people in need, whether for a traffic ticket or reported criminal activity and anything in between. Just this week, 2 appearances, one before a Lane County presiding judge, the other before a school district FDAB board hearing, denied our support to our people snared in their deceitful web, declaring we were not a legitimate counsel because we are not attorneys. These de facto folks think they are higher than us and can set their rules, and that we need to follow them or do any damn thing they wish to us. Many voice frustration when so many of us are repeatedly ignored, when facing them, censored, or shut down because we don't comply, or worse. So here we are, in Article 1, Section 1, Social Compact of the People, men and women on the land and soil of Oregon, and we declare ourselves the provisional government on Oregon. We have politely requested their reform to honor the original Constitution, where common law was the soup of the day, but that got handily abolished in 1947 or thereabouts by the bar. And here's an aside. Thank you to the friend among us here who asked the question, what does BAR mean? Because I sent it in the email, B.A.R. I share it here as an opportunity for us to learn and to encourage anyone to ask the questions they do not understand, as we're all in a huge learning curve. I answered as follows. People think bar means it's the bar the ship crosses coming ashore. It's the gate in a courtroom that one goes in to face the judge, and if there is one, the jury. It's passing the test, the bar, aka the BAR, if you're an attorney. Like all things in Admiralty maritime law, it has multiple meanings intended to confuse and deceive. What BAR refers to in actuality is British Accreditation Registry. It is a foreign entity operating on our land and soil, requiring people to school up on their law form, the United States Constitution circa 1861. Look up 13 Tona regarding the 13th Amendment, and FARA, F-A-R-A, if you wish to do some research. An attorney who claims the title Esquire is a foreign agent per our original Constitution, which is written specifically to not be permitting to hold office in our government. Another deception, and they tell our constitutional court that we don't have a position at the table unless we are an attorney. Having been thus ignored, or worse, we are presenting to you an opportunity to vote to abolish that structure, which cooed our original Constitution and Bill of Rights, aka amendments, place themselves in a district separate from the truly representing the people, and we're taking it back. We're abolishing the maritime, admiralty, de facto, color of law, judiciary, and returning us to a de jure common law, Republican law form as guaranteed in the United States of America's Constitution circa 1859. What does this mean? It means we're taking back the civilian common law of the land, closest to God's law, natural law, and removing their law of the sea and the pirates who maintain it. Legal and legality is their term, not ours. We do law in its purest, simplest form, which is Republican with the lowercase r. We are a republic, not a democracy, and neither party has it just quite right. In frustration, the people lament they have the guns and the sheriffs on their de facto side. The other more pervasive problem regarding us and them is that so many people are accustomed to complying, conceding that this is just how it is, that they are more powerful than we are. This is an unacceptable premise. So this all leads to issue number 2, enforcement. And here's a question Ron brought up, and it's a good one we already know the answer to. He asked figuratively, what if, and I say just what if, we are implementing the right thing at the right time? Because we are right here, right now, expressing who we are, the spirit of the people, by what we are doing, sharing, and acting upon together. This could not be a more perfect time. A time where the consciousness of Mother Earth upon whom we stand and the spirit of the people all over the world are rising up to protest to the impositions and skewed notions that have been subtly and not so subtly provided to shape us and our way of thinking, believing, and performing. So let us proceed. I'm going to read docket number 102022 OSJA, small a, GJ, grand jury. And I'll read this. Is anything we need to do, Tanya, before I proceed? You want to take roll call, or would this be a good time to do that? I know that we have guests on here who are witnesses, but are not in our state on Oregon. And welcome. Yeah, hi Bronco. I'm glad you're here. And Keith also.
My understanding this week, Charlie, too, just to bring in some observation, is that Oregon's actually going red. I don't know if you guys listen to Steve Turley. He's really good. He's PhD. You know, it doesn't have any legal bar. He's more of a historian. I want to say anthropologist, but you know, just very, very articulate. Reads the, you know, to me, reads the world pretty well, and isn't. I don't think he, you know, he may not. He's an Orthodox Christian. So,
Okay.
but anyway,
Thanks,
just
Melissa.
trying to.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
All right. So Tanya, are you ready? Or is there anything you need to do? And I can't hear you.
Changes in the world.
Charlie, I've got a quick question. Is this a suitable moment to put it?
Not well.
Not-
Yeah, go ahead. Is it brief?
Yes. You said just a few minutes ago that a requirement for us to have any standing was for all of us to be attorneys.
Well, in the courts, yeah, the courts and the boards and the licensure boards, all of that, yeah, they require any kind of counsel. They consider counsel to be attorneys.
Okay, so is that in fact a requirement, a lawful requirement, or is that just a concoction of theirs?
It's a color of law rule.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we can represent ourselves in court of law, so why can't we have friends there to help us? I mean,
Okay, you guys, yeah.
Bad, I'm just asking a question. I'm
I
like,
know.
I thought you can represent yourself and deny
Yeah, you
uh,
can do sui juris, but in that,
representation. Yeah.
we've had, okay, well, there's an issue here just this week, twice, that we had that incident of being there present for our people. One was the court and one was a board meeting. And in both cases, because we were not attorneys, Ron nor I nor any of our assembly members who were gathered to support our people were denied a voice or even a presence, especially in the board situation, which isn't even a court, to represent or be present for the people we were there representing and counseling and supporting. So,
Can anybody hear me?
Right.
yes, yeah, got you,
I
Tanya.
understand the
Thank you.
conflict.
So
Okay,
did I miss
so-
anybody in the roll call?
I never
so-
heard the roll call.
So listen, everybody, can you mute your mics? Tanya, we didn't hear a word. So this is the first time we've heard you. So go ahead.
Okay, William,
Here.
me, Charlie,
Here.
Cynthia, Ron,
Here,
Here,
Wendy,
here,
Brandon,
On.
Ray, Mark,
here,
Susan, Sue. No, Sue?
Here,
Bobby,
here,
and Sue's here.
Laura,
Here.
Farwell,
here.
Ann,
I'm here.
Carla,
sorry, I'm here.
Debbie,
I'm here.
Marlena,
I'm here.
Satara, Satara, are you there? Am I saying her name wrong? Maybe I'm saying her name.
Where's that?
she's
Oh,
there.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Sarita,
Sarita, sorry.
I'm here.
Morel,
Here,
Melissa,
Here.
Keenan,
Present.
Nancy,
Here.
David,
Here.
Sandra,
Linda,
Ruth,
Present.
Denise,
Here, sorry about that.
Lenore,
Here.
Linda,
Here.
did I miss anybody?
yes, Eric is here with Linda.
Here.
And Glenn is here with me.
Eric's
And-
last name the same as Linda's?
Cynthia's here, her mic doesn't work. And
So
Carrie,
Linda Kidby and Eric Mendenhall.
And then Mark and Carrie. So Carrie is with Mark.
I'm here.
Did you get Carrie?
And Glenn is with me.
What's Carrie's last name?
Watts. WATTS.
Do you have a total number? Has everyone been accounted for? Have you heard your name? Okay, Cynthia.
You got Cinda, right?
I'm not sure exactly
Yes.
who's on the call-in line.
31.
I can't seem to get it to unmute. If somebody's on that line, if you could push *6 to see if it'll unmute.
Yeah, I'd asked earlier and they probably didn't
Yeah.
know how to do
I
that.
don't think we said *6, so
Yeah, I didn't.
just a little complication there. I'm assuming Richard's on there.
I hope so. Cynthia,
There was one caller on there when I hooked it up.
thank you, William. Cynthia, your hand's up.
Yeah, a while ago, you guys were talking about the attorney thing, and my question, I dropped it into the chat, is where does it say in the Oregon Constitution or the Republic of the United States of America Constitution that we have to be an attorney instead of counsel when we're in a court of law?
It changed because of the bar. Common law they got rid of it. It's like the AMA. All of those institutions have taken over our government. It's a coup. It's an ongoing color of
So,
law.
okay, but so it's written in their color of law documents is my point. That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's not in the Constitution.
That's my question. Is it actually in the Constitution?
Not as far as I know.
Okay, thank you.
They brought the bar in by Oregon revised statutes.
And that's where Article 7 comes in, which is the amended or the original instead of just Article 7. So then they kept the original in there, but now they do the amended version. And that's something that is pertinent to this whole judicial issue. Yes, Dave.
Is there actually a statute that precludes counsel or precludes anybody just to actually say that you have to be a bar member? I don't think there is a statute that says that.
There is
Doesn't
none.
matter. And it doesn't matter if there's a statute because that's not our law form.
Right, but I'm just wondering, I mean, what do they point to? Do they have anything they can point to?
Their rules, they have rules.
Yeah, there are little policies and procedures inside their court, and the judge is the captain of the ship, and he makes the rule.
Well, I don't remember seeing that in the ORCP. Is that the rules you're referring to?
For example, the board hearing we went to Friday, they have rules and guidelines that they have and how they're going to conduct the meeting. And they decide based on how much enforcement and whatever the issue is, and it's color of law. They can write whatever they write and say whatever they want to say and do whatever they want to do. It's not lawful and there's no due process. Okay, can we proceed? Did we ever find out who's on the call-in line?
Not yet. I'm going to try to do that now.
Okay. I'm going to read this docket number 10-2-2022 OSJA-GJ. Abolition by order of this Civilian Court of Record, Oregon Statewide General Assembly, General Delivery, Beaverton, Oregon 97005. Notice to the agent is notice to principal. Notice to the principal is notice to agent. Our court does not incarcerate, nor do we execute. By divine counsel, we find remedy in law. We are the one Supreme Court claiming original jurisdiction in Article 3 and a verdict without appeal in law through Amendment 7, a civilian court of record that implemented Ex parte Milligan and nullified martial law, FEMA, which is not a good organization, by the way, or institution, with a grand jury's ending, one that can write court's orders to inferior courts, the LEO and the DA, AG, DOJ, FBI, USMS, et al. To do that, the analog meter must be dialed back to de jure from de facto. We are doing that with our civilian court of record and returning Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government. Your court is reduced to color of law, oathless, illegal, and illegitimate, with persons without bonds, persons acting without honor or authority. Our court recognizes this and abolishes your court by Article 1, Section 1 and all of its affiliates. Notice to the agent is notice to the principal are considered to be the same. This is remedy to the 112 years of treason and for the lawful replacing with that which was originally intended in our founding documents. Article 7, amended and original in Oregon's Constitution, post November 8, 1910, is abolished. Persons need to become people and with their proper oaths and bonds until they can provide proper bona fides this year, 2022. With full faith and credit, governing law is established in this document at this time to be Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, Perpetual Union, Oregon's original constitutions, circa 1859, and the United States of America's Constitution, circa 1859. And ORCP 20A, Clearfield Doctrine, Bacardi Doctrine, Ex parte Young, Ex parte Milligan, McCarran-Walters Act 1952, Judiciary Act 1789, Section 32. Judgment Neil Disick, please mute, are all specifically called into this document. They are all governing law, which must be accepted. The current 13th and 14th Amendments are bogus and must be rejected. Take heed of the Blackstone commentaries. The DOJ is agent to the entity responsible for the enumerated requirements of Article 3. The one Supreme Court must claim original jurisdiction to be a court. I would consider to have jurisdiction when found in conjunction with Amendment 7 court. The DOJ has failed miserably in their responsibilities. We must do it ourselves. We define the words we use. We decide our method of communication. This communique is not intended to mislead, defraud, deceive, or threaten in any way, and is submitted in good faith and with clean hands. We do lawful, and this is our best effort. We close with love, peace, harmony, and a prayer. On Oregon, without the state of Oregon, within the United States of America, the constitutional Republican form of government under penalty of law. Then there's a living testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth, which is there. And there's a jurat which follows, which we will gather and sign and submit today in the presence of, and then we'll put in the numbers. Mind, body, soul, flesh, blood, spirit, men, women, people on the land and soil of Oregon. Witness the living man known as Ron Charles Froman affirm the foregoing living testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth before me and for the purposes he has described. In witness whereof I set my hand and thumbprint to seal this day of 2022. So do
Hello,
we
can
wanna-
I be recognized, please?
Absolutely. Who
Can
is
you
this?
hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Who is-
good, finally.
Who is this?
My name is Kim Swager. This is my first time being recognized. I've tried to participate many times
Oh, I'm
and
glad you're here.
have been unable.
Okay.
So
I'm glad you're here.
I just wanted to thank you. I'm happy to be part of it. I'm just that's all I wanted to say was just put me on the roll.
Okay, do you have a bona fides? Have you filled out the form for a living testimony in the form of an affidavit of truth with our assembly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so Tanya, do you have her name and documentation there? Can you say your full name for Tanya, please?
Sure. Kimberly Swager.
Okay.
Please say it again.
Kimberly Swager.
Is it SWAGER?
No, EGAR.
Spell it again, please. SWAE?
No, SWEGAR.
Got it. Tanya's checking.
Okay.
I'm glad you were able to get on finally.
Me too.
Charlie, I've just got
Yes.
another little question.
Mhm.
You
Yes.
mentioned in this little
Can you hear
speech
me?
that 110 years on from
Hello?
the 19.
Okay, wait, Morel, just a minute. Tanya's trying to talk to Kimberly.
Kimberly, I can't find your documentation on my thing. When did you sign up?
Gosh, it was at least a year ago. I have had a lot of things happen in the last year. Used to live in Florence, and I went to a protest in Salem and signed up there. Gosh, it was probably September of 2021.
It could be that I couldn't read the document, and that's why it's not documented on my tablet. So can
Okay.
you put a chat in the chat line and give me your information, or have you got on our Skype?
No, I don't have that. I just have a phone. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cause any
You're not,
extra time
No, you're
wasting.
No,
fine.
thing.
You're
You're
fine.
not a problem.
We can call her after the fact, right?
I'll just take down your phone number, and I will call you afterwards so that I can see if I can go through my paperwork, that the ones that I couldn't read, and maybe that's one of them.
Okay.
And
Okay,
also,
perfect.
yeah, and I would say, Kimberly, we'll just stay in communication and we can go ahead and accommodate this because you did sign up. We just can't locate the document. So to go ahead and
Okay.
participate in the vote, and we can accommodate that accordingly. Yes, Ron.
Can
Okay.
I go over
Um,
that number? 1-541-840-7949. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll mute myself now and just listen.
Okay, well, we're going to have a vote, so you'll need to unmute when your name is called. So thank you, Kimberly. We appreciate you being
Okay,
here. All right.
you're welcome.
Okay, so do we want to go ahead and proceed on voting? And when you say yay or nay, please say that what you are voting, whether you're voting to abolish the judiciary, or that, let's be more than just yes or no, so that we're very clear. And in the case of Cinda, because we can't hear you, when we call your name, we'll look for you to see your thumbs up, okay? All right, go ahead, Tanya. This is to abolish the corporate
William,
judiciary de facto system.
Harrisburg. You hear
Sorry?
us?
Yes,
William? I vote guilty.
I vote guilty. Charlie?
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary.
Hang on, I can't hear you.
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary.
Cynthia?
I vote to abolish
on
the
one second.
de facto judiciary. Glenn?
I vote to abolish them.
Yeah, I vote to kind of get rid of the Oregon Health Authority, what they're doing.
Debbie, we're voting on abolishing the Oregon judiciary. Is it a yay or a nay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I vote on that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And after you voted, please mute.
Okay, Cynthia?
You're not talking to me, are you?
Yes, she didn't hear you before.
I
Go ahead.
vote to abolish the de facto judiciary system.
Ron?
No,
I vote
You
to
wanna-
abolish the de facto judiciary system.
Do you want to do Glenn so I can mute?
Glenn,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary, Oregon judiciary system.
Wendy,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary.
Brandon,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary system.
Ray,
Where's
Ray?
Ray?
I agree that also myself.
Mark,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary in the state of Oregon.
Carrie,
I vote to abolish.
Sue,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary system in the state of Oregon.
Bobby,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary in the state of Oregon.
Laura,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary system in Oregon.
Farwell,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary system on Oregon.
Ann,
I vote to abolish the Oregon de facto, yes,
Carla,
judiciary.
I vote to abolish the Oregon de facto jury system.
Debbie,
Debbie
Yeah,
already
I vote for to abolish the de facto in Oregon.
Marlena,
I vote to abolish the corporate Oregon de facto judiciary.
Satara,
Sarita.
Sarita,
Yeah, Sarita. I vote to abolish the de facto jury system in Oregon.
Morel,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary of Oregon.
And excuse me if before we go on, Morel, was there a question that you had that was pertinent to this voting at this time?
No.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Melissa,
I vote to abolish the corporate de facto judiciary system on the state of Oregon.
Keenan,
For the concurrence of the abolishment of the de facto corporate judiciary on the territory of the Oregon is with the yes vote by this claimant.
Nancy,
I vote to abolish.
David,
I vote to abolish the de facto judiciary on Oregon.
Cinda,
Cinda's thumb is up. Thank you, Cinda.
Ruth,
I vote to abolish the Oregon de facto judiciary system.
Denise,
I vote to abolish the de facto or judicial system in Oregon. Sorry.
Lenore,
I vote to abolish the Oregon de facto judiciary system.
Linda,
I vote to abolish the de facto judicial in Oregon.
Eric,
I vote to abolish the de facto.
Kim, Burley,
Is this for Kim Swager?
yeah,
I vote to abolish the fraudulent system of judicial system on Oregon.
Okay, now this one is on the. This one is on the.
Vote for me.
On the phone line, I don't know if they can hear me, but I know that one of them is Rod.
Good, Rod made it on.
Yeah, he's on the phone line, but I can't hear him, and I don't know
Yeah,
if
so give us a couple of minutes to get these other people. Hold on.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience. This is really an important issue. Nice to see you on, Sarita. Thank you for taking time out on your sunny day, everyone.
This is Ruth. We appreciate all of you do, and we love you.
Thank
Gratitude.
you. Thank you. Gratitude back.
For the like.
Thank you, Steve. Just for those who don't know, we're watching. William and Tanya are trying to attend to the phone line to hear the response from those who are on the phone line.
Or are we doing another vote, Charlie?
We will be doing another vote. I'd like to go ahead and get this done, but we have to wait till we can hear their vote. If we can. Yes, we have one more document, and hopefully it won't take long. William and Tanya are still trying to get audio from the
Can you
call.
hear me, Charlie?
Yes, can hear you now.
Okay, so on the conference line right now, the only one there is Rod, and he did vote.
All right. Okay.
For some reason, he can hear everything that's going on, but he can't communicate.
Okay,
I
thank
had to go
you.
through the conference line itself and talk to him.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, thank you so much.
We got
Okay,
his vote.
awesome. Okay, so is that all of the votes affirmative for this document?
That's 33 votes, and that's all the ones that we have.
Beautiful. All right, so we had 33 votes to abolish the judiciary de facto on Oregon. So the second issue is that of enforcement. We want to hear your vote on establishing a marshal on Oregon. And there will be more, but we start with one and all that entails. What it entails in part is establishing an office and recruitment, men and women in proper dress and badged and oathed to serve the people on Oregon. Where are the sheriffs when you ask them? It requires the jail to house those who are convicted by the jury of their peers until they can be held for a proper lawful procedures, I guess you'd say. That being our civilian court of record. All right, so a marshal, for example, can accompany us in approaching established agencies such as county commissioners. When we go to speak to them, a marshal would be helpful. And the sheriffs to take their proper oaths not to the corporation, but to the people. A marshal can accompany us to demands through quiet title, taking back the buildings and properties by titling and deeding it to the United States of America's Oregon of Article 1, Section 1, in the de jure known and identified, acquiesced and defaulted to the Oregon Statewide General Assembly, aka the Provisional Government on Oregon. Apparently, to the other jurisdiction, we have been the wind whispering. It is now the time for us to be the thunder and the lightning. It is a proverbial storm, and we are taking the helm of the ship of state, crashing it on our shore and ridding it as we know it. They think their court. Can you mute, William?
There on the corner.
Thank you. They think their court's superior and their gavel is the hammer. Our civilian court is the one Supreme Court, lowercase 1, lowercase s, as it is written in the original Constitution, of record per Article 3, continues to raise our hammer of truth and justice by our actions. Now we are the hammer. We are taking back our power and our institutions that were stolen by hidden forces intended to render us powerless and to fill their coffers until we leave our bodies. We say no more. So now we're going to read the docket number 10-22-022, OSJA, lowercase b, GJ, grand jury. Declaration from the Oregon Statewide General Assembly, General Delivery, Beaverton, Oregon 97005. Since circa 1861, the de facto corporate entity known as the United States of America, aka all caps United States of America, has through its color of law form of government so significantly altered the original constitutions circa 1859 as to render them two disparate documents, one right from the get-go. The proffered coup claimed by the extremists, that would be them, to have occurred on January 20th, 2021, actually began circa 1861 and has been ongoing ever since, and to this day, through color of law. An example is the extremists saying that the stolen election is untrue enough times that the people believe it. Then they carry on with a kangaroo court to indict, and in some cases making political prisoners of their claimed perpetrators. Another example is proposing to add additional justices to the Supreme Court, thus altering the makeup of its 9 justices since its first appointed Justice J. John on October 19, 1789. By now, in the gloaming of 2022, we recognize the takeover of our government has neared its completion, and its hostages, the people, have experienced every element of our original Constitution that has been infringed, thereby ultimately destroying its intended form, force, and direction. Whether it is censorship of our right to free speech, with free speech zones blocks away from a purposeful protest, or an infringement of our Second Amendment steadily being nibbled at by the fearful and the deceived. These 2 issues most critical to our freedom as sovereign people, men and women on the land and soil of this great nation, have been usurped. We have been bamboozled, which leads us to our next step as a social compact assembled. We are declaring that the Oregon Statewide General Assembly is in the process of establishing a marshal on Oregon, starting with the one and building, and all that it entails until we have cleaned up our state from the fraud, the corruption, and the malfeasance that has destroyed the peace, health, and happiness of the people, their homes, families, even their very lives. As we consistently do, We call in our divine counsel with its direction and protection therein to properly guide us through this process of establishing an enforcement arm of our self-governing body that is rightfully the people on the land and soil who no longer comply and are no longer deceived. Our assembly reclaimed our Second Amendment and so declared in 2020 that we are the militia. We are needing sheriffs on every county to step up and take their proper oath to the people by taking the correct oath to the Constitution for the people, not of the U.S. corporation. We now hereby choose to install an office of the People's Marshal to reclaim our inherent unalienable rights to a Republican form of government as guaranteed in our original Constitution, United States of America's Constitution, circa 1859, here and now, and to be fully installed this year, 2022. And I won't read the full faith and credit again, it's the same. And then there is the jurat. Well, before that, I'll just say that this communique is not intended to mislead, defraud, deceive, or threaten in any way, and is submitted in good faith and with clean hands. We do lawful, not legal, and this is our best effort. We close with love, peace, harmony, and a prayer. On Oregon, without the state of Oregon, within the United States of America, the constitutional Republican form of government, under penalty of perjury. Here's the living testimony from Ron. There's the jurat. We'll sign over. So we can take a vote, Tanya, if you're ready.
They can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, Charlie.
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
William,
I vote for a marshal.
I vote for a marshal. Cynthia,
I vote for a marshal.
Glenn,
I vote for a marshal.
Ron,
I vote for a marshal.
Wendy,
I vote for a marshal.
Brandon,
I vote for a marshal.
Ray,
I vote marshals.
Mark,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Carrie,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Sue,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Bobby,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Laura,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Farwell,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Ann,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Carla,
I vote for a marshal in Oregon.
Debbie,
I vote for a marshal in Oregon.
Marlena,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Sarita,
I vote for marshal on Oregon.
Morel,
You're muted, Morel.
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Melissa,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Keenan,
I vote for a correctly authorized marshal on the territory of the Oregon.
Nancy,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
David,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Cinda,
Thumbs up from Cinda.
Ruth,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Denise,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Lenore,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Linda,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
Eric,
I vote for a marshal in Oregon.
Kimberly,
I vote for a marshal on Oregon.
okay, and I gotta get the other vote from Rod off
I
of,
think Rod, there's nobody on that line anymore.
oh, I guess he left.
Okay, so how many votes do we have for the marshal?
32.
Let's see the line.
Beautiful. Okay. All right, is there anything else, anyone? You got everyone?
Yeah.
Thank you. In closing, I'd like to thank you each and all for giving up this hour or so to perform your civic duty and participate in our provisional government.
And
You're
Charlie,
make-
will you, I'm sorry, will you send me the two numbers that go with these votes?
Oh, yeah, I did state them, but I'll say it again. Do you want them right now? I might as well say them for the record.
Okay.
Yeah, it's docket number 10-22022 OSJA lowercase a GJ for grand jury. And that's the first one on the abolishing.
Okay.
And the second docket is number 10-22022 OSJA lowercase b dash GJ.
Charlie, there were 2 requests on chat wondering
Oh.
about
Thank you. Wondering what?
whether there was a marshal in mind.
Yes, there is, and he's present. Would you like to introduce yourself, Bobby?
Bobby Graves.
Yes.
Hello, everybody, and thank you. My grandfather was the very first head of the Oregon militia when we established Oregon as a territorial organization, and he stayed in Salem and helped write the original Constitution, finished in 1857, submitted in 58, and accepted in 59. He became the head of the Oregon National Guard, as it became known as later. My name Graves means sheriff. It's actually Greaves from Scotland. My ancestors came from Scotland, and we're from the Jamestown colony. So we've been here quite a spell. I would appreciate any support I can and suggestions on my conduct as a marshal, if it's so being you choose me to be one. I've got a little experience there. I was a prison chaser at times with the Marine Corps. I had some very interesting experiences that way. Spent about 8 years in that organization, and I learned a great deal about dealing with provost marshals and people in high places that aren't so awfully noble at times. Thank you for considering me. I've been hoping that I could do some more than I have been. I want to talk to the sheriffs. I want them to be part of our militia. I want them to stand up and be a real sheriff instead of just incorporated legal fiction of a sheriff. And most of them that I've talked to want the same thing. All we need to do is sit down and talk. As a marshal, I think I could do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby.
Well,
You're definitely
Bobby.
the one. Yeah, go ahead, Farwell.
May I speak to Bobby? Bobby, I'm Farwell Perry. I'm the one with the tunnels. How probable is it that I'd be needing these tunnels as a prison? And how soon? Should I-
Temporary housing.
How soon?
Timelines are difficult to predict. I would say there's so many blocks to every movement we make. They practiced for 160 some years now on how to maintain us in the dark. Coming out of the light, it's hard to predict the time frame, but I will tell you this, we're going to give it our best shot. And I'm personally mad as hell is what's happened to my beloved Oregon.
Losing.
Yes.
I want to respond to Bobby. Bobby, I love you. I want to put it a different way. We are the light dispelling all darkness on the land of Oregon. We are the light.
Absolutely.
And so Marlena says in the chat, thank you, Bobby Graves. And Keenan says for the gratitude, Bobby, thank you for coming forward. And I think
Charlie,
yes,
this is Ruth, and
yes.
I'm wondering what we know about surety bonds, because I understand we can, they're a format by which we can do some pressure on not only the the sheriffs, but the courts and the school boards and all individuals
Yes,
that
we've
take a vow.
yes, we've looked into that and it's on the table.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
I've got a question, Charlie.
Okay.
This is addressed to Bobby Graves. I think it's wonderful that you're stepping forward, Bobby, and I wish you every good fortune. My history on Oregon, coming from England so recently, is very sketchy. I want to ask if there is a tradition of marshals in Oregon, or are you starting off with a clean slate with no tradition behind you and therefore no recognition and very little power?
Originally, we had sheriffs that were actually doing this kind of work for each of the counties. And in the original state structure, we had a different number of counties. Lane County, for example, was half of the state of Oregon because Joe Lane was a very important early man in forming this territory as part of the United States. Most of the people were the Southerners that came in here trying to get away with what they saw was going to happen to the southern part of the Union. They came out here to escape that. My own grandfather was a slaver. He didn't want to do it anymore. He wanted something else. They came out here in 1846 and explored the place. The family moved in 1847, and he never stopped working in politics, striving to make a safe, nice place to farm because the land was great for farming. The climate was mild. The water was crystal clear and clean. That was his statements. So when they came against problems in law enforcement, they created the state militia. He was a colonel in the Missouri militia below the compromise line at the time from Warren County. Because he had experience, he retained the title, and it's public record right now anywhere. Colonel James B. Graves was head of the militia. Within the communities then, people would stand up as a sheriff, be elected as a sheriff, and from time to time, a city would elect a marshal. The term wasn't unknown, but today, as we are facing a bunch of nesting dolls of corporations that go all the way from the local dog catcher clear up to the Supreme Court, they're denying our ability to do what we're doing today. I'm sorry. They are the de facto and we are the de jure, and we can, in fact, take back our beloved Oregon. And I think there'll be other states following our example. We are a constitutional republic. We are not a democracy or an oligarchy.
Or I concur.
Okay, thank you very much, Bobby. That was a very satisfying response. But it seems to me you will be forging a new path. You're going to be pioneering because there isn't very much of the tradition of martial, at least not in recent centuries.
That's correct.
Correct. So good luck to you. And as you say, it's very exciting. You will be the pioneer with other states following. So I find that very exciting. Wonderful.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
Melissa.
Thank you. I'm still curious, why can't the state, Secretary of State, so coming from the inside out, you know, rather than coming at it head on, because it kind of makes me afraid. I don't want what happened to your friend, you know, who was murdered. That happened in anybody here. I would just be heartsick to be, you know, put ourselves in danger because they don't see us and we become that threat or disorder, you know. Anyway, so my question is, wouldn't the state, Secretary of State, have, supposedly, again, one of us makes it in there, runs for that office, couldn't they change this landscape and do what you're doing, because they could take back all the crap that they put out there, remove the corporation, become work from the inside out, that's
Go ahead,
just-
Ron. Go ahead, Ron.
Melissa, we've been trying that since, I think it was May 2019.
I
And
read that document.
yeah, okay, and giving them every opportunity to do everything that they can to correct themselves, and they refuse.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody like myself running for Secretary of State
You're
and
not gonna-
getting in that office and doing this work from the inside out, so that we don't have to have a confrontation, type of situation that could harm us. I mean, I think that what we're doing is the right thing, right? Re-representing the legal, lawful jurisdiction of the de jure on the state of Oregon. However, that also, to me, and that's just me, kind of puts up once we get the physical, I want to say the militia, the marshals and stuff involved, then you have more of that physical presence. And I'd rather work it from the system inside out. I will not comply. From the inside out.
Quit trying to take me to task, cause I don't want to wear a mask or take a vaccine that could maybe make me die. They got no scientific evidence to back that crap up. All they do is feed us lie after lie. That's why I will not comply. Since back last March, I've had an achy, breaky heart like old Billy Ray Cyrus. I've been catching a case of the blues from the news around this damn coronavirus. Now they're telling us we gotta keep our chin diapers up, even if we got the shot in the arm.
To make things happen, and the fiction is just going to be us spinning our wheels, rather creating our own models and taking infrastructure concepts and putting it into the hands of the people is the direction that I think we are naturally going.
Agreed, Keenan. And truly, we are a provisional government. We are building our own, because theirs is fraud, and we don't want any part of that. We ignore them, they ignore us. Let us live our lives. You guys go away. Cynthia.
Before I concur, if there's no injured parties, let me be in peace.
Yes. Cynthia, you're frozen. It's a nice smile you're frozen in now, I can tell you. Shucks. Oh, there you go. Okay, now I can hear you. Oh, I can see you. I can't hear you.
You're muted.
Muted, Cynthia.
No
Still muted.
audio.
Still muted. Okay. Can't hear you. It says you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Okay, Dave, your hand's up.
I think we're going to have a very hard time doing anything like that until there's a real vote. There's a Republican lady who's winning in the polls, but until there's actually a paper ballot with minimal security features that require some level of residency and qualifications for actually being from Oregon, and and a half-size page paper card or something, there's going to be no opportunity for any of us to actually get into office, because if
Excuse
they
me,
count the votes,
we don't want their law form. We have a different law form.
well, that's what I'm
What-
saying. We just need to have a true vote mechanism.
Yeah,
It'd be great to be
What-
into office, but then who counts the votes? And if it's electronic or Diebold, it's never going to happen. The polls say one thing. Ron Paul had 96% of the exit polls, and they gave him 5%.
thank you, Dave. William,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, so my thought is that I haven't seen any country on earth throughout history that have ever voted themselves out of a totalitarian state. It's impossible. The only way out is by violence. Of course, we're trying to avoid that violence. We cannot vote anybody into there. That's the democracy scenario and not the Republican scenario. Under the Republican scenario, what we want to be is self-governed. That means we need to educate ourselves and our people to be responsible parties inside of or on our state. We know that the whole system is corrupted. There is nothing worth saving inside of it, including the voting system, the medical system, you name it system. It's all corrupted. There's nothing left.
Yes.
We wish there was, I mean, I spent years trying to change law. It was mainly in the medical marijuana and the recreational marijuana, if you want to call it that. Stuff for over 20 years I've been doing it. It's completely corrupted. You're not going to get a good vote if the businesses or the powers that should not be do not want you in there. It's not going to happen. It's the Secretary of State is part of the problem. When me and my friends had got a initiative on the ballot back in 2012, the Secretary of State at that time was Kate Brown. We know where she is today. She is the cause of me losing that election in 2012 for our measure. I swear to God, I've seen it in many elections where you're winning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then bam, you lose because they have control of the election.
Thank you. So I would like to end this with what I have to say, and then we can continue discussion if you want. So please, with your hands up, you can continue after I close. Thank you. So in closing, I'd like to thank you each and all for giving up this hour or so. Now it's been an hour and a half to perform your civic duty and participate in our provisional government. You're making this commitment and voicing your opinion in a meaningful and lawful way gets us closer to the goal of true freedom and liberty, true sovereignty and peace in a world that is dramatically shifting to the quantum level, unlike anything we have been aware of heretofore. There's a current film aptly named Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. This is quantum, dears. We are all here and there and everywhere, all over the planet, doing what we have done here today, step by step. It is the law, God's law, divinely inspired.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. Then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, just shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead with his hands in the air, and I thought, I swear to God, He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead. And then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.